Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Imagine this, in America, and then a Kenyan's military plane is spotted hovering around the airspace of America. What do you think is going to happen? In fact, let me just rephrase it here. If America realizes that there's a threat to their security, and there's a military plane that has been spotted hovering around its airspace, what is most likely going to happen is that this plane will be shot down after several warnings. Now, in Kenya, there's a story about a US embassy reaction the moment there was a military plane that was spotted at Mombasa port. Now, this military plane has raised a lot of public uproar. And why would a military plane be spotted in Mombasa? So there's that kind of a story that is being shared. Remember, this is happening days after Kenya started crying about the presence of Jubaland forces in Mandera. You heard what the governor said, you heard what the people within Mandera County have been saying, and Kenyans at large are being saying.
Gachagua alisema ukweli. Watu ya Jubaland militias wako Mandera, wako BB1, watu wamekufa.
And you also heard what Rigathi Gachagua said when he was in the US. Then come the issue of RSF. You all heard what happened. Now, Kenya has constantly denied these allegations. So the big question is, what was this military plane doing in Kenya? If you go to kenyans.co.ke, there are pictures which they have shared. And these pictures, they have captioned them and said, the US military plane was spotted hovering around the port of Mombasa. Now the big question is, why a US military plane would find itself flying around Mombasa? What is actually the motive behind it? I have seen a couple of reactions regarding that, and some people are talking about the non-NATO ally status. And probably maybe this is just a military plane that is just looking at the borders of Kenya, trying to establish whether there is any threat, you know, because US must protect Kenya because Kenya is a US ally. So is that the case? Let me quickly take you through a couple of reactions before we delve further onto this issue. But first and foremost, there's something about the plane that was spotted. I understand is a Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. The Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey is a multi-mission military aircraft that uses tiltrotters technology to combine the vertical flight capability of a helicopter with the speed and range of a conventional turboprop airplane. It was developed by Bell Helicopter Textron Inc. and the Boeing Company, and is the world's first production tiltrotter aircraft. So if you go to some of the features of this military plane, we're told that tiltrotter design. The V-22's most distinctive feature is its two-engine nacelles, each with a three-bladed propeller mounted on the wingtips for vertical takeoff and landing. The nacelles are rotated upward, allowing it to function like a helicopter. In flight, they pivot 90 degrees forward for high-speed, fuel-efficient turboprop airplane flight. Some of the unique features here are the design gives the Osprey a significant advantage in operational flexibility, allowing it to perform long-range missions at high speed that would normally require both helicopter and fixed-wing aircraft. For shipboard storage, the wing and rotors can be folded and stored. Then we told something about the engineer, that the aircraft is powered by two Rolls-Royce AE 1107C turboshaft engines, which are connected by a drive shaft that allows either engine to power both propellers if one fails. So based on those few features I've just taken you through, ladies and gentlemen, you've realized that this is a very sophisticated military plane, one that is designed for combat action. So then why would it hover around the port of Mombasa? What's actually the reason behind? Is it that there's some kind of terrorism that they suspect? Why are they doing so? Now, if I may take you through a couple of reactions, let me just take you through 6 or 5 reactions. Like, for instance, there's Shahid Bayanga, who says, the question should be, could you ever fly a Kenyan military plane over the skies of America? Well, that is a very important question. Preston PK says, that's not news. US can view Mombasa from Australia. Okay. Simiu says, maybe they are looking for swimming lions. Kennedy says, not. We are NATO accredited. Vinny Kir says, this is normal. US Air Force has a front operation base at Moi International Airport, Mombasa. Okay. Then there's another person here. Is it true that a Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey operated by the US military was seen hovering and landed over the Kenyan Ports Authority offices in Mombasa? Okay. Philemon Obuile says, Kenya has a NATO agreement in its files. Festa says, that's an Osprey. It's related to AFRICOM and pursuit of Al-Shabaab. Nothing to worry about. Someone else says, hizo ni mambo gani? Martin says, wewe waende Sugoi wa. Okay. So that's just a couple of reactions matters this military plane. And we are told that it's a very sophisticated plane, very, very sophisticated, a Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey. And I've taken you through some of the features of that military plane. It is designed for combat operation. It's not just like any other helicopter, you see around. This is designed for very, very high-risk missions, meant to deliver on the results. Now, based on all this, ladies and gentlemen, what's your take? This is coming at a time whereby the issue of RSF, RSF, then there's the issue of Jubaland. All these things, America was concerned when Rigathi Gachagua was delivering those kind of explosive revelations within America. So they were taking notes on, honestly speaking, and because the statements from Rigathi Gachagua portrayed a fact that Kenya had exposed itself to security threat. Now, some of the reasons why I think this military plane could have been spotted in Kenya is just to try to scan those areas of maybe Mandera to ascertain kama kweli hawa Jubaland wameingia kweli hapa ama ni story tu za jaba zile, because they needed some way of confirming all this. Maybe I'm just saying that maybe those are some of the things that could have happened. But if you look at this matter from a very clear perspective, then you realize that most likely this plane was in Kenya because of the NATO agreement, the NATO status that Kenya still enjoys. It has not been revoked, despite the fact that there were all calls by the opposition to try to push the US government into revoking that. But the US government has maintained that that Kenya is their ally. So I do not see that action taking place. But again, the issue is still subject to discussion at the Congress. So, ladies and gentlemen, just go below the comment section and tell us what you think about this Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey spotted in Kenya. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.